Good afternoon, grasshoppers. I hope you are all well this afternoon. I thought I was looking a bit black and boring this afternoon, so I decided to put on a colourful necklace to entertain you all in case you'd forgotten my name. We are going to read chapter 18 today, Down the Chocolate River. Off we go, cried Mr. Wonka. Hurry up, everybody. Follow me to the next room, and please don't worry about Augustus Gloop. He's bound to come out in the wash. They always do. We shall have to make the next part of the journey by boat. Here she comes. Look. What do you think the boat looks like? A steamy mist was rising up now from the great warm chocolate river, and out of the mist there appeared suddenly a most fantastic pink boat. It was a large, open rowboat with a tall front and a tall back, like a Viking boat of old. Do you remember when we read Cudweed and the Time Machine and he went back to the Viking times and they were on a big Viking boat? Imagine it would be like that. And it was of such a shining, sparkling, glistening pink colour that the whole thing looked as though it were made of a bright pink glass. There were many oars on either side of it. Oar is like a big stick that you row with to make the boat move. And as the boat came closer, the watchers on the riverbank could see that the oars were being pulled by masses of, who do you think's doing it? Who's working the boat? It's the Oompa Loompas. At least 10 of them on each oar. This is my private yacht, cried Mr. Wonka, beaming with pleasure. That means he's beaming, smiling very big. You can give your biggest smile if you were so proud of having that boat yourself. I made her by hollowing out an enormous boiled sweet. Isn't she beautiful? See how she comes cutting through the river? The gleaming pink boiled sweet boat glided up the riverbank. 100 Oompa Loompas rested on their oars and stared up at the visitors. Then, suddenly, for some reason best known to themselves, they all burst out into shrieks of laughter. What is so funny? Said Violet Beauregard. Oh, don't worry about them, cried Mr. Wonka. They're always joking. They think everything's a colossal joke. Jump into the boat, all of you. Come on, hurry up. As soon as everyone was safely in, the Oompa Loompas pushed the boat away from the riverbank and began to row swiftly downriver. Swiftly, that's a lovely word, it means quickly. As soon as everyone was safely in, the Oompa Loompas pushed the boat away. Oh, I just read that bit. They rowed swiftly down the river. Hey there, Mike TV, shouted Mr. Wonka. Please do not lick the boat with your tongue. It'll only make it sticky. Daddy, said Veruca Salt, I want a boat like this. I want you to buy me a big pink boiled sweet boat exactly like Mr. Wonka's. And I want lots of Oompa Loompas to row me about. And I want a chocolate river, and I want, she wants a good kick in the pants, whispered Grandpa Joe to Charlie. The old man was sitting in the back of the boat, and little Charlie Bucket was right beside him. Charlie was holding tightly onto his grandfather's bony old hand. He was in a whirl of excitement. Everything that he had seen so far, the great chocolate river, the waterfall, the huge sucking pipes, the minty sugar meadows, the Oompa Loompas, the pink, beautiful boat, and most of all, Mr. Willy Wonka himself, had been so astonishing that he began to wonder whether there could possibly be any more astonishments left. What do you think? Do you predict there'll be more astonishments to come? So this is going down the river in a big pink Viking boat. Those are the oars. See these bits? That's the oars. That's what they're rowing and moving around to make them row down the chocolate river. And it's all curled up like a Viking boat. It's hard. I'm doing it backwards. Here you go. Where were they going now? What were they going to see? And what in the world was going to happen in the next room? Isn't it marvellous? Said Grandpa Joe, grinning at Charlie. Charlie nodded and looked up at the old man. Suddenly, Mr. Wonka, who was sitting on Charlie's other side, reached down into the bottom of the boat and picked up a large mug, dipped it into the river, filled it with chocolate, and handed it to Charlie. "Drink this," he said. "It'll do you good. You look starved to death." He was starved, wasn't he? They didn't have much food at home. Then Mr. Wonka filled a second mug and gave it to Grandpa Joe. "You too," he said. "You look like a skeleton. What's the matter? Hasn't there been anything to eat in your house lately?" "Not much," said Grandpa Joe. Charlie put the mug to his lips, and as the rich, warm, creamy chocolate ran down his throat into his empty tummy, his whole body from head to toe began to tingle with pleasure, and a feeling of intense happiness spread all over him. Can you imagine that you're drinking that chocolate from the river? I want you to get your mug. I want you to put it up to your lips. And I want you to glug it. Oh my goodness, was that delicious? Mine was delicious. "You like it?" said Mr. Wonka. "Oh, it's wonderful," Charlie said. "It's the creamiest, loveliest chocolate I've ever tasted," said Grandpa Joe, smacking his lips. "That's because it's been mixed by my waterfall," Mr. Wonka told him. The boat sped up down the river. The river was getting narrower. There was some kind of a dark tunnel ahead, a great round tunnel that looked like an enormous pipe. And the river was running right into the tunnel. And so was the boat. "Row on!" shouted Mr. Wonka, jumping up and waving his stick in the air. "Full speed ahead!" And with that, the Oompa Loompas rowing faster than ever, the boat shot into the pitch-dark tunnel, and all the passengers screamed with excitement. "How can they see where they're going?" shrieked Violet Beauregard in the darkness. There's no knowing where they're going," cried Mr. Wonka, hooting with laughter. "There's no earthly way of knowing which direction they are going. There's no knowing where they are rowing, or which way the river's flowing. Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. For the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing." I think it's Oompa Loompa singing that. "He's gone off his rocker," shouted one of the fathers, aghast, and the other parents joined in the chorus of frightened shouting. "He's crazy," they shouted. "He's balmy. He's nutty. He's screwy. He's batty. He's dippy. He's dotty. He's duffy. He's goofy. He's beany. He's buggy. He's wacky. He's loony." "No, he is not," said Grandpa Joe. "Switch on the lights," shouted Mr. Wonka. And suddenly, on came the lights, and the whole tunnel was brilliantly lit up, and Charlie could see that they were indeed inside a gigantic pipe, and the great upward curving walls of the pipe were pure white and spotlessly clean. The river of chocolate was flowing very fast inside the pipe, and the Oompa Loompas were rowing like mad. They were rowing like mad, and the boat was rocking along at a furious pace. Mr. Wonka was jumping up and down in the back of the boat and calling to the rowers to row faster and faster still. He seemed to love the sensation of whizzing through a white tunnel in a pink boat on a chocolate river, and he clapped his hands and laughed and kept glancing at his passengers to see if they were enjoying it as much as he. "Look, Grandpa," cried Charlie, "there's a door in the wall." It was a green door, and it was just set into the wall of the tunnel just above the river. As they flashed past it, there was just enough time to read the writing on the door. It said, "Storeroom number 54. All the creams, dairy cream, whipped cream, violet cream, coffee cream, pineapple cream, vanilla cream, and hair cream." All the creams. "Hair cream?" cried Mike Teavee. "You don't use hair cream?" "Row on," shouted Mr. Wonka. "There's no time to answer silly questions." They streaked past the black door. "Storeroom, number 71, it said on it. Whips, all shapes and sizes." "Whips!" cried Veruca Salt. "What on earth do you use whips for?" "For whipping cream, of course," said Mr. Wonka. "How can you whip cream without whips? Whipped cream isn't whipped cream unless it's all been whipped with whips. Just as a poached egg isn't a poached egg unless it's been stolen from the woods in the dead of night. Row on, please." Now, a poached egg is a poached egg because you cook it in water. But poached can also mean stealing. So he's saying that a poached egg is a stolen egg, but I'm pretty sure it's an egg that's been cooked in water. They passed the yellow door, on which it said, storeroom number 77. All the beans, cacao beans, that was what made the chocolate, coffee beans, jelly beans, and has-beens. Has-beens? Cried Violet Beauregard. You're one yourself, Mr. Wonka said. There's no time for arguing. Press on, press on. Has-been is someone who's like old news. They used to be great, but not really great anymore. So he's being very rude to her. But 5 seconds later, when a bright red door came into sight ahead, he suddenly waved his gold-topped cane in the air and shouted, "Stop the boat!" And that is the end of today's chapter. I will see you back here tomorrow for chapter 19, which is the inventing room, everlasting gobstoppers and hair toffee. It's actually not tomorrow I'll see you. I will see you on Thursday because tomorrow is well-being day. I hope you will all be doing something nice away from the computer. Have a look at the well-being task that's been set today that you can do tomorrow if you want to. Otherwise, just enjoy tomorrow with your families. Have a nice time. And I will see you back here on Thursday. Bye, grasshoppers.